Hey, Detroit bros, don't worry. I did not forget about the Red Wings during this crazy playoff time where I'm watching 2 out of my 3 favorite teams win hockey games simultaneously against the Flyers, against the Blues, against all odds. I'm still here thinking about my favorite hockey teams that aren't playing in the NHL at the moment, and the Red Wings are definitely one of those teams. So today, what we're doing is we're going over a few draft ideas for the 2020 NHL Entry Draft, revolving around picks number 4 and number 5. And I said number 5, which means yes, we are talking about the Ottawa Senators too in this video as well. We're talking about the Wings, we're talking about the Sens, and 2 projections that Cole Pronman of The Athletic laid out earlier this week in his mock draft. Now, I will say, we're not going to screenshot and display all of his material because obviously The Athletic is paid for content, and me showcasing that content here on YouTube would kind of feel morally wrong in my opinion, so we're just going to not do that. But instead we're going to focus on the ideas themselves that Cole Perfetti has, not necessarily the words behind these ideas. Because if we want to talk about picks number 4 and number 5, what Cole Perfetti laid out that was eventually talked about on Twitter is something that I think is very interesting to bring up. So let's go over onto Twitter and check out a tweeter named Sens Division. He posted a screenshot of Cole Perfetti's number 5 overall pick from his article, which I did leave a link in the description to down below, by the way, if you want to read that and you do have The Athletic. And he says this in his own words. Cole Perfetti says the only name that he has heard to Ottawa at number 5 recently is Lucas Raymond. He also notes that a lot of sources tell him that Detroit really likes Cole Perfetti. And the screenshot that he posts is the number 5 overall spot in Cole Perfetti's mock draft on The Athletic. Spoiler alert, it is Lucas Raymond who is going to Ottawa in this circumstance. But I wanted to talk about these 2 ideas here a little bit more in depth because both of these ideas are indeed ones that we have discussed on the channel before. That's not a lie. We've spoken before about how the Red Wings may be high on Cole Perfetti. That was in a video where we talked about Tim Stützle and the LA Kings, and we've spoken about Raymond to the Senators before. That was our video talking about if Raymond could go 3rd overall, and that was, again, a crazy video idea. I know that, but at the same time, there was a reason we were talking about it, and it did create quite a buzz, so I think we did our job in stirring discussion. But we're talking about these 2 ideas again today because there's a little bit more stuff that I wanted to go over that may or may not support these 2 ideas. First off, let's go over Detroit and the Red Wings, because this tweet over here that we looked at, the Sens Division tweet talking about Raymond to Ottawa at 5 and Perfetti to Detroit at 4, this tweet was posted onto our Detroit Red Wings, the Red Wings subreddit, where Red Wings fans collectively come together and they talk about stuff relating to the Red Wings. A lot of the comments over here kind of opened my eyes to how apparent it may seem that Cole Perfetti, with all things being considered, could potentially be a Red Wing at number 4 at the draft. The first comment over here on the post actually kind of doubts the idea. It's from a guy named Coltron57, and he says this: I'm down for taking Perfetti at 4, as someone who is decently high on him. However, based on how much of a locked safe our front office is about leaks, I'd have a hard time believing this is more than just interference about which games we've had a larger scouting presence at than normal. Not saying there isn't truth, but there's been no history over the last 15 or so months that Yzerman has been GM showing that people know what he's going to do before it is official. But then the comment replying to this one brings up a different source that maybe kinda steers the boat in a little bit more of a more likely direction in this sense. This one isn't exactly detective work. It's not looking at where scouts have been. It's Chris Draper himself legitimately saying at one point or another, and Perfetti talking about it in a TSN article. This is the TSN article he is referring to, a Q&A with top prospect Cole Perfetti, written by Mark Masters all the way back in April. This is what we're referring to. Retired NHLer Chris Draper is a family friend of yours, Cole. What is the best advice he has given you? We've known his family for a long time, and I've had many conversations with him over the years. I had a recent conversation with him, and one thing he said was, even though times are tough right now, not getting in the gym and stuff, there's going to be other kids around the world working harder than you, and they'll be wanting it more. So, he told me to have the mindset to be the best and work the hardest, and everything will take care of itself. My play on the ice will take care of itself as long as I'm competing the hardest and being the hardest working guy, especially in this period of time with the circumstances the way they are. And Chris Draper, well, doesn't take a genius to know, he is literally the director of amateur scouting for the Detroit Red Wings, so, there's the whole Detroit-Saginaw connection, there's the whole Albin Greva is going to Saginaw connection, who is an already established Detroit Red Wings prospect from the 2019 NHL Entry Draft. And there's a lot of reason to believe that there could be some connections. In fact, this is what Corey Pronman himself said in his Athletic article on Cole Perfetti. It's written right here in the comments section of the Reddit post. Cole Perfetti has a lot of resemblance to Braden Point, whom was actually selected by Steve Yzerman during his tenure in Tampa Bay. So, I guess we'll leave it at that. With more and more ideas coming to the forefront about the Red Wings and Cole Perfetti, I'm honestly kind of opening myself up more to the idea. Like, even though Perfetti to me isn't a top 5 prospect, in my own opinion, I certainly would not see anything wrong with taking him at number 4 if Steve Yzerman believes that's the right pick. If you're asking for my own personal opinions, well, I kind of have Perfetti in that 6, 7, 8 range, but the problem is this draft is so deep that anybody in my 6, 7, 8 range could go as high as 3rd overall, and you could make the argument as to why they should go there. Lucas Raymond is a guy who is in my top 5, but in fact, it is apparent that the Senators may end up taking him 5th overall, at least according to what Corey Pronman is hearing, which to me certainly would not be a bad move. First off, if you're Ottawa, you're already getting somebody who is capable of playing center at 3rd overall, whether that's Byfield or Stützle, both are able to play center. So, why not fill out the other spots you have on your team with wingers at 5th overall with Lucas Raymond, arguably the best Swedish player in the draft. I know many people, including myself, have brought up the idea of Ottawa taking Jamie Drysdale at 5th because, hey, he is the best defenseman on board, and if the Senators can get another D-man to go along with their elite franchise potential forward that they take at 3rd overall, why not distribute the wealth a little bit? Well, unfortunately, my name is not Joseph Stalin, and neither is Pierre Dorian's, so we may not see something like that in terms of the forwards and the defensive distribution. Furthermore, Corey Pronman brings this up in his own Athletic article as well, but the Senators have already gone with right-handed defensemen in their most previous few picks. Lassie Thompson last year in the 1st round, they also had Jacob Bernard-Docker a few years ago, and even on the left side, you guys are pretty stacked with Thomas Chabot, and not to mention Eric Bronstrom. There's a lot to go around when it comes to the Ottawa D-Corps. So, is there really a need to get a guy like Sanderson on the left side or Drysdale on the right side when you can add another elite scoring forward? So that's the idea and philosophy that I want to present to you in this video here on Detroit and Cole Perfetti, an idea we've discussed in the past, but we're bringing up again because there's a lot more to the table than I thought there was, and the idea of Lucas Raymond to the Senators. He may not go 3rd overall like we talked about in our previous video on whether or not Raymond could go to Ottawa, but if he goes 5th overall, that certainly would not surprise me in the slightest either. So, talk to me in the comments below what you think about either of these two players. If you're a Detroit fan, talk to me about Perfetti. What do you think about him? Would you value a pick like that 4th overall, or would you see more value in somebody else? And furthermore, if you are Ottawa, talk to me in the comments below about Lucas Raymond, specifically at 5th overall. I know we already made the video about him going 3rd, but if it's 3rd overall Stützle or Byfield and 5th overall Raymond, how would you feel about that? I know this fan base has a very diverse pool of both Red Wings and Senators fans, so I'm looking forward to reading the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.